I Promise, a Westallen alternate universe one-shot fanfic. Barry, pick up, Iris said, annoyed as she heard his voicemail once more. She had been chasing the Flash for 6 years, and even though she had a full-time job as a reporter, she had always found time to update her blog. Iris had ran out the instant the Flash had been spotted fighting the big bad of the year, Poisonous. Iris was stranded close by the battlefield as her car had been crushed, and if she called her father, he would never let her leave her home without telling him first. Her fiancé, Liam, was on a business trip in Colorado, so he couldn't help. The only one that could was Barry, who wasn't picking up. Iris rolled her eyes and tried calling again. Chances were that Barry was being his typical nerdy self and researching random sciencey things. Well, would you look at this? Have a fun 10 minutes, Poisonous cackled. She created a cloud of poisonous vapor and flew away. Much to Iris's surprise, the Flash didn't get off the ground and chase after her. He only laid there. Iris's mind raced to the terrifying conclusion that the Flash had been hit. She ran over to where he lay. "Flash!" she yelled. His head moved slightly. His eyes widened before he concealed his face, and Iris kneeled down close to the Scarlet Speedster. "You got hit, didn't you?" she said worriedly. "Yeah, I thought I was faster than air," he said with weak laughter, distorting his voice. "You shouldn't use your speed, you're already so weak," she scolded. "Oh God, I'm lecturing a dying superhero," she thought. Every victim only had 5 minutes to live, but since the Flash could regenerate faster than a normal human, he would probably last up to 15 minutes. But the poison would become too much for his body to fight. "I guess there's no point in hiding it, huh?" he said, his face becoming clear to Iris. His features seemed so familiar. Those eyes. The Flash knew her. I know you!" she cried, tears threatening to spill. "Yeah, I couldn't tell you who I was. To protect you," the Flash gave a weak laugh. "Don't strain yourself!" Iris cried. "I'm sorry, Iris," he said. Iris gave in and tears began to flood down her cheeks. "Who are you?" she asked in a soft voice. "Please forgive me. I know you're the strongest person I've ever met, but I just couldn't risk you knowing and getting hurt," he said. Iris watched as the Scarlet Speedster slowly removed his mask to reveal... "Barry? Barry?" Iris cried. Barry smiled slightly. "Hi, Iris." He coughed violently, making Iris hold him closer towards her. You... Iris's mind was racing. There was so much to process. Barry was the Flash? He was the one in the red suit running around saving lives? He was her best friend since they were 11 years old. And he was dying. "Barry, I wish you had told me before," Iris sobbed. "I wanted to, but I couldn't. The last thing I want is for you to get hurt," he said. Suddenly, Barry grabbed Iris's hand with more strength than she expected him to have. "I know this isn't the best place to say this, nor is this the ideal situation, but I don't really have a choice. I love you, Iris. I've loved you since we were 11. I know you didn't see me the same way, so I never told you. All I want for you is to be happy." Iris was speechless. He loved her? And he gave up his own happiness by letting her be with someone else? "Oh, Barry." She couldn't think of anything to say, so she opted for hugging him as close to her as she could. It was clear that the poison was weakening Barry as his grip had begun to loosen. "Promise me you're gonna be happy. Promise me that you will move on with your life," he said. "I can't. I don't want to leave you in my past. You're my best friend. I love you too, the same way. Please don't leave." Barry laughed weakly. "I guess I should have told you, huh?" Iris wiped a tear that formed by Barry's eyes. You should have, you idiot. I don't want you to go, she said. You have to. Move on with your life. Have a family with Liam. Be happy. Please, promise me you'll forget all about me. Only then you will be happy, he said. Iris shook her head. No, I can't. Iris couldn't bear to think of a life without her best friend, the person that knew her better than anyone else, the one who'd been by her side for everything. I know what it's like to never move on from a death, and I don't want you to go through what I did. Iris silently nodded her head, unable to say the words. Say it, please, Mary said, his body shutting down. I promise, Barry, Iris said, her voice shaking. Barry smiled softly. I'll meet you again someday. On Monday, at 7:38 p.m., April 9th, Barry Allen died in the arms of his best friend and first love, Iris West. The following Tuesday, Killer Frost and Vibe went after Poisonous, along with the Legends and Team Arrow. She was imprisoned, and even months later, very few villains appeared, and when they did, they were apprehended soon after. Their world would never forget the superhero that saved the world multiple times over. Iris West knew that she'd never truly forget him either, but she had to move on with her life. But that didn't stop her from visiting the grave. Hi, Barry. It's been 6 months. Me and Liam had broken up. We're not getting married. I can't marry someone when I love you more. I know you said to forget and move on, but I can't. I've pitched the idea of a Flash museum. They love it. I won't forget you, and I won't let Central City forget you either. I love you.